At one point, I was having pictures of myself dying in my head on average 80 times a day. So imagine going through your life like that. And I remember one day I just called the VA and I said, I need help because I feel I'm probably going to be dead very soon if I don't get help. Post-traumatic stress disorder, once I put a name to it was helpful because I knew that there was a biological reason of why I was experiencing this, and I'm fortunate that I have a good support system in my family and my friends. My family is originally from Nigeria. Both my parents, well-educated, very loving parents, were always, paid a lot of attention to family. And then I moved to Minnesota, which is where most of my mom's relatives are, and went to college here at the U of M. I enlisted in the military when I was about 18. Started out as a combat medic and went on to become a flight medic, getting deployed on a couple of situations. I got stationed in Fort Hood in Texas, and then got into a bad accident and barely survived. But then I realized that I was probably not going to be able to be in the military anymore. So that was a great loss for me, but then things only got worse because I started to notice this rage that I had in me. I don't think I've ever had anyone describe me as someone that has a temper, and I would lash out at my sisters, I would throw things. I went to the VA and did a number of assessments with their mental health team, and I eventually got diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and severe depression. And then I started to learn with the help of group therapies and my psychologist, and different ways I could minimize or reduce the effect of it. So yeah, there were a lot of ups and downs. As I've been traveling down my recovery journey, one of the things that I experienced was shame. Suicide is a symptom, an action that is driven usually by not properly managed mental illness. She came in quick enough where I was on the floor, just half conscious, and she called 911. Spent a period of time again in the inpatient psychiatric ward. Some of my wife's good friends and families, and rightfully so, they'd asked her, are you sure you guys want to go ahead with this wedding? And she said yes. She stuck by me.
Yummy.
So here's a question. What's it like being married to someone living with mental illness?
It's a process for me and for us, I think, and I think it's some days are better than others. But I think that that kind of goes along with any illness, whether it be mental illness or a physical disability. For me, it's kind of a process of learning how to work with each other and communicate and best support each other.
After my suicide attempt, I know that was very difficult for you, over 5 months to marriage. Why did you still feel confident in your decision to go forward with the marriage? And I'm just want to get a sense of your perspective.
I think the incident itself was terrifying, and it was, there was a lot of fear surrounding that. A lot of what ifs. What if I wouldn't have been there? What if this happens again? And I think how I got through it was faith. And I think you and I had developed enough of a relationship that I knew that that you were going to take care of yourself like you needed to. And that gave me hope, just in the way that you've taken care of yourself in the past.
Have you had stigma experiences being part of a family where someone has mental illness?
I think you're treated different in some regards, that you're a veteran, that you're a professional, that you're a father. What I've noticed more in my line of work, being a therapist, and then seeing people come into the hospital with mental illness who may be homeless or abusing drugs or alcoholic. I see a lot of even healthcare professionals make pretty significant, harsh judgments on people that come in, and I see the stigma there a lot.
So stigma is a big stumbling block when it comes to recovering from mental illness. Now, just as much as I was getting this diagnosis, my family and loved ones also were getting this, because they were not experienced in living with someone that lives with mental illness. But there was sort of some stigma there. Like I said, I'm originally from Nigeria, and it's one of those cultures where mental illness is something that's not spoken about. It definitely occurs, but it's not spoken about. While they struggled with it, they, just were very supportive. But I think where the stigma was glaring and scary was in the community and even amongst friends. I've lost a number of friends after my diagnosis of mental illness.
This subject is not a popular subject in the African American community, Dan, because labeling, for instance, and stereotyping. What have you discovered about that?
Yeah, I think the key word there that I pick up on is stereotype. And, I think in a lot of communities, but especially in the African American community, there's a stereotype of what a man is supposed to be, or what a woman, a mother is supposed to be, and things like that. And mental health issues do not come into that picture. Personally, I had individuals in the past where it was more focused on, well, Dan, maybe you just need to pray more. Maybe you need to have more faith. And, both of us being men of faith definitely do not downplay the strong power that faith can have in healing. But, I have lost some friends over it. My family has been great in that it's not been an easy thing for them to understand, but we continue to work through it.
We understand in the African American circles that we do have 400 years of pain, the sufferings from a low socioeconomic perspective that we cannot deny or overlook in America. How are we going to come out clean? There is this sad commentary that no one wants to discuss their pain. But isn't it funny, while we're not discussing our pain, we still exhibit our pain. And it does reflect in our behaviors. If we go that far to exhibit it, then why don't we discuss it?
That's a good point.
And not just blame it on an ancestral issue. And sometimes I wonder exactly on a Sunday morning, how many people enter the sanctuary in pain? With a taboo subject of mental health, I believe the time is now that we can make some sincere efforts to really make the subject matter public. Absolutely. Without indicting anyone, without labeling anyone, and making anyone feel embarrassed in their pain. We do have hope. You're a great example of hope, Daniel.
And it takes a support system to help you get that strength.
When people hear my story, and some people come up to me and say, I actually have a family member living with mental illness. One of the things I hear a lot is, I don't know what to say. And I always respond to that with, well, it's not really important that you say anything. But what you can do is really engage in active listening. Let the person that has chosen to open up to you, know that you care and that you're willing to listen. As my daughter grows up, I think I will be sure to make sure that she knows, first of all, that if she's dealing with anything related to mental illness, that she knows that my love for her doesn't change in any way. But it's also going to be important that we educate her on what I'm going through and what others may be going through, so she can be part of the solution and not the problem. When we were dating, I had a conversation with her. I said, look, I have this post-traumatic stress disorder and this depression. One day you're gonna get tired and you're gonna leave. And I'm not gonna blame you, but it's gonna be easier on me and easier on you if you just do it now. And she said, I'm not saying it's not gonna be hard, but I'm not gonna run away. I look around and I find myself so blessed. We're coming up on 5 years of marriage, and we always talk about how amazing our life has been and how much fun we have together. Our diagnoses are just that. They're just stuff that happen to be part of our life. But I mean, I wouldn't give back the years we've had for anything.